Most of us built our conditional access policies many years ago and we just kept on adding more. But the threat landscape and Microsoft's own recommendation have changed. Some of these rules even overlap at this stage. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I rebuilt my entire architecture from the ground up, moving away from the legacy towards a clean, zero-trust blueprint. So let's dive right in. Before we jump into the conditional access policies, if you're still using SMS and voice for your authentication methods, please try to disable them as soon as possible because they're the biggest threat factor at this stage. And ensure you enable passkeys, multi-factor authenticator, certificate-based authentication, and temporary access passwords if you would like to leverage these. Let's start with a naming convention. I use this format to separate regular users from admins and from guest users. So CA0 is for all users, CA1 is for admins, and CA2 is for guests. In my test tenant, all these CA policies are enabled, but please ensure that in yours you set them to report only first and ensure that everything is working properly before you turn them on. So let's dive in. The first policy is to require MFA for all users, no matter the application they connect to. So we target this to all users. We exclude only the break the glass account and a specific role in case you still have AAD connect in place and you haven't moved to the application-based authentication method. So we target all users, we target all apps, no exception, and we ensure that we require MFA, the, say, traditional multi-factor, which includes SMS and voice call. But since I no longer have SMS and voice call enabled at my tenant level, I will go ahead and switch this one over to passwordless MFA instead, so I ensure that SMS and voice call are excluded from this point of view as well. Let's go ahead and save this, and that's it. The next policy is about blocking the device code flow authentication. So this is something you don't want to have enabled at the tenant level, and you pretty much don't want to have exceptions if possible. So we target it to all users. We exclude the break the glass account, of course, as the Microsoft recommendation suggests. We target all resources, and we have basically only one condition. The authentication flow has to include both device code flow and the authentication transfer method. So we include both of these, targeting all users and all apps, and we block. Moving next, we want to block as well the legacy authentication also. Same thing, all users, we exclude the break the glass account, we target all resources, and we do not exclude any of them. And when it comes to the conditions, we click on the client apps option and we ensure that we only tick the Exchange ActiveSync and other clients options in here. And what we do is to block as well this particular access. Moving over to the next policy, we want to ensure that we do not persist any browser sessions. So we target all users, exclude the break the glass accounts, same as we did before, targeting all resources with no exclusions. Moving to the conditions, we have to configure two of them this time, the client apps and the devices we want to filter. So the client apps, we include the browser, so a modern authentication client, which is the browser. When it comes to filtering for devices, we want to ensure that we only apply this for non-company owned devices. So hybrid joined or Entra joined devices will fall under this category where we exclude them from this policy. So basically, if a user tries to connect via the browser from a personal laptop or from a shared device, we want to ensure that we never persist that session. So we ask them to sign in every 12 hours from the moment they logged in, and we never persist the session. And this brings us to the next conditional access policy. And this one is regarding allowing web-only access for bring your own devices. So for the personal devices I was mentioning earlier. We target all users, we exclude the break the glass account, but this time, instead of targeting all apps, we are interested in the Office 365 apps only. The conditions blade is what makes this policy really special. So we don't want the employee signing into the Outlook desktop app or OneDrive sync client on the home PC. So what do we need to do? Over here, we target any device, but we have some exclusion, and that is the Android and iOS. And the reason we're excluding iOS and Android devices is because we handle phones differently using the app protection policies. And you'll see more about it in the next episode. Over here, we are looking for mobile and desktop apps in particular. So we specifically leave out the browser. Keep in mind that this policy will block everything. The policy only fires if the device is not compliant or if it is not hybrid joined. So if you're on a corporate laptop, you're fine. But if you're on a home PC, then the trap is set. The grant control here is block. So this means if you try to open the Outlook app on a personal Windows laptop, then Entra ID sees that you aren't on a managed device and it simply says access denied. Policy is targeted for admins, so it requires a compliant device or a phishing-resistant MFA method. So instead of targeting users in particular, we target directory roles. So I've chosen all of them in the list here, and I of course exclude the break the glass account. When it comes to the resources, we target them all as before, no exclusions, especially for admins. To the grant, we have two options here. For admins, we require a phishing-resistant MFA method, so a passkey, a security key, or a certificate-based authentication method configured to be leveraged for MFA. Next to this, we require the device to be marked as compliant. So if you only want to allow your admins to log in from the company-owned devices, which are Entra joined and therefore compliant in the tenant, you can combine these two and the users will be leveraging phishing-resistant MFA methods while connecting from a compliant device. But if, for example, you want to allow your admins to also log in from a personal laptop to perform some admin task for an emergency matter or what have you, then you would choose the option to require one of the two selected controls. So either the device to be marked as compliant or to use a phishing-resistant MFA method. And if you want them both, you would tick the other option. Now, the admins should be prompted to log in more often. So that's why we've set the window to 4 hours to require a sign-in. And next to this, we never want to persist their session either. So that's why we've configured the two options here. Now let's move on to the last conditional access policy in our list today. So this is the one targeted for guests. So it starts with CA20. This one in particular targets guests or external users, and I've ticked all the boxes over here so that we ensure we don't skip any guest user. So we don't need to exclude our GA here, but we include the guest accounts. When it comes to targeting apps, we're only interested to allow our guest users to have access Office 365 apps, so not all of them. And this is the reason over here we are targeting Office 365 as the resource. The grant type is require MFA, because for the guests, we don't know whether they're still using SMS or voice, for example, so we still want to allow them to do that. But when it comes to the sign-in frequency, we want them to sign in every 8 hours. You'll notice here that persistent browser session cannot be chosen as an option because this can only be selected whenever we target all cloud apps. And in our case, we target the Office 365 apps only. Therefore, we cannot choose this particular option. Once you're done with configuring with all your conditional access policies and you turn them on the coverage blade, you will be able to see information about how many users have been covered and have not been covered by the CA policies that you have in place. So ideally, you would be having everything in green. Every environment is different, of course, so please adapt this to your needs and ensure you are testing all the CA policies by using mainly the what if tool prior to turning it on. I hope this will help make your environment more secure. And remember, when it comes to Azure, you always got your brother in the cloud. See you in the next one.